Highguard will go down in history as one of the worst video game reveals of all time. My name is Jeff screwed this title before it was even released by convincing the creators of it to make a trailer, since it was originally meant to be shadow dropped. Then little Jeff had the bright idea to have a multiplayer PvP shooter game, you know, one of the most abused genres in the industry, that needed to be the last reveal of the Game Awards, which is a spot that is usually reserved for something that is highly anticipated. That decision did more harm than good. Hell, people started to compare it to Concord. Guys, Concord. That game peaked at just under 700 active players on Steam, backed by one of the biggest gaming studios in the world. It got shut down 2 weeks after its launch. It allegedly cost $400 million to make, and the game had characters like Big Bolga, Dollar Store Star-Lord, Anna from Overwatch, but even older, and that one Twitch streamer that's about to hit it big. The entire internet, literally the entire internet, compared Highguard to this uninspired generic schmuck. And I can somewhat understand why. I already said it, but the multiplayer PvP shooter genre is one of, if not the most abused one in the industry. From Apex Legends to Fortnite, Call of Duty, Rainbow Six, Counter-Strike, Halo, Valorant. It's just an overbloated market with games that continuously try to pinch every cent out of your wallet while mechanically running around in circles and not doing anything fresh or new. And these companies/studios expect players to play bootleg Overwatch while playing as Big Bolga. And can you blame them? Because Big Bolga is kinda awesome. The thing I am kinda miffed about when it comes to this game though, is that I never played it. Seriously, I want to know what it was like, what worked and especially what didn't. And it also would have been really funny to have it in my fully completed list on Steam, but alas, that's a dream that will never become a reality. Customers have simply lost all their trust when it comes to this genre, and I completely understand why. Concord was just a big breaking point for many people, a combination of oversaturation and a lack of visual interest. So when I saw that every person on planet Earth started to call Highguard Concord 2.0, I knew that I had to fully complete the title, for the funny, you know, and when it finally got released, it peaked at almost 100,000 players on Steam. Just a bit more than that other game. To be fair, a lot of people went into this game with bad faith in mind. I mean, only 55% of goobers have even finished a match. One match. And at the start of the game, it also didn't really click with me, but the more I played it, the more I tried to understand it. A switch flipped in my head. This game can be pretty fun. I'm not trying to be a contrarian, okay? There are a lot of issues with it, for sure. It's underbaked as hell. The main characters look, interesting to say the least. ARs are kinda garbo, switching scopes is really clunky, but I did start to understand the vision. And I was enjoying it more than I was expecting. This is why first impressions are so godly important. I can kinda understand where Jeff was coming from. Playing this game with a group of people that are locked the hell in is such a rush to say the least. It has nice gunplay, smooth movement, an interesting game mode. But looking at it on a surface level, it does look bland, uninspired, and like a mishmash of 7 other games. Because it is kinda exactly like that. It's a capture the flag, base defending, Counter-Strike bomb planting, Overwatch ability type of game. I don't know, and the devs simply like to call it a raid PvP shooter. But there's also resource gathering and chest looting. There's a supply drop you can go for that gives you this big LMG that purely shreds. It's a strange little specimen they cooked up here for sure, but in my opinion, when all of it clicks, it is kind of fun. Please don't throw rocks at me, pretty please? But wait, before we really dive into Concord 2.0, we need to make a little detour first, because this video is sponsored by FlexiSpot. I have $1 billion debt I need to pay off, okay? Let me do this. Does your chair suck ass? Is it filled with holes, creaks all the time, or is just generally uncomfortable? Well, if that is the case, you should get yourself a FlexiSpot chair, baby. Specifically, the C7 Max. I've had a lot of chairs over the years. Most of them are kinda junky, but the C7 Max is designed with ergonomics in mind, while still being sturdy and comfy as hell. I can fall asleep in this beauty. It has a 3D adjustable headrest, letting you tilt it to the perfect angle. The backrest height can be increased or lowered with a simple tug. The lumbar support, this is the lumbar by the way, is really nice, easy adjustable seat depth. The seat cushion is super soft with multiple layers of materials, making your butt extra cozy. The 5D armrest lets you adjust them as absurdly as you want. Are you a normal citizen or a little cuckoo? No matter what, this is it. The perfect chair, and I love it. You can even sit in it cross-legged easily, which is something I do a lot because my right foot is a bit of an abomination. I don't take a lot of sponsorships, you guys know that about me, but this is genuinely a good product. And if you aren't satisfied, they also include a 30-day return-free policy with a 10-year warranty. So if you want to support me, again, I got $1 billion debt I need to pay off. Click on the link in the description or pinned comments down below and use code Foekoe to get yourself your very own C7 Max chair. It's pretty nice. I like it. Okay, back to business. If you clicked on this video expecting me to tear Highguard apart and go full insult mode, you've sadly come to the wrong place. There are already plenty of dumbass videos about it on YouTube for you to consume. No matter what game I jump into, even the really stinky ones, I always try to see the positives in it. Find the parts that shine, and while Highguard does have some clunky, uninspired bits, I think the overall main gameplay loop does have a lot of potential. The most interesting part of Highguard, in my opinion, is the game mode, aka raid mode. So imagine Rust base raiding as a competitive FPS shooter. That's the best way how I would describe this game. Doing a raid in any PvP game is always quite an exciting thrill, but the big problem with it is that you have to put so much time and resources into it to even get there. Highguard manages to strip most of that build-up away, and instead of it taking 10 hours to get to a raid, it's a brisk 5 to 10 minutes. Here is where I think one of the big problems with this game shines through the cracks though. Explaining the main game mode is just pure AIDS. It is really difficult to compact because besides the raiding, there is also so much other schmuck that does add depth to the mode, but it also keeps swapping identity. One time it's capture the flag, then it turns into arena mode from Team Fortress 2, but 2 minutes after that you're planting bombs, but now it's suddenly attack defend, but you're upgrading your base walls by smearing poop onto it while mining Terraria crystal shards so you can buy a legendary crystal storm from Trader Flynn. Explaining what Highguard is about is a mess, and I think that was the big obstacle the devs had to overcome, trying to showcase this raid mode game mode well. And sadly, I don't think they accomplished that. They did try for sure though. They made so many videos explaining what every weapon does, every hero, map, base. They put together a whole website that is really well made. This is fun information to read up on if you're really getting into the game, but if you're a new player, it is rather overwhelming. And when people get overwhelmed, they often just kinda give up. There is, however, a tutorial you are forced to go through that explains what everything does, but it throws so many mechanics at you all at once that it is a bit overwhelming, and you need to put a good 3 or so hours into the game before you get the hang of it. And a lot of people just can't be bothered with that. Another thing that seems to not really click with a lot of people is the game's visual identity. At first, I was also a little iffy on this, especially when it got revealed, but I do think it has grown on me after playing the title for a bit, but it really makes me think. Would Highguard gotten as big of a negative stigma if they decided to go full sci-fi, you know, like their previous titles? probably not, right? It would have clicked with a lot more people, I think, since it's more recognizable and iconic. What they ended up with is definitely a little bit out of the norm, where it is sci-fi, but it's this weird fantasy magic version of sci-fi, where everyone is running around with like a stupid little toy gun and bazookas you can use to blow yourself up with. You don't really see this around a lot. It's usually one or the other, but I do think that mixing these genres together makes for an interesting direction. It's just a direction that doesn't immediately click with a lot of people, since it's a little bit jarring. They took a risk, that's kinda what artists do, and sadly, it didn't land that well with general audiences, which is a bit of a shame. But there is no way that the devs didn't know that combining fantasy magic with sci-fi elements isn't a popular direction to go for, right? And that it's rather niche. What is this little creature? Oh, what? It's like a little monkey. Okay, goodbye.
What do you like?
Why do you look so stupid? I respect the boldness and creativity on display here, but look at some of the other popular titles that do this fantasy, magic, sci-fi combination thing. Immortals of Avium, A Medieval, Heretic, Ziggurat. Now, some of these games are pretty damn fun, but it's obvious that these titles aren't big hitters. Immortals of Avium especially, that game is infamous because of how little players it got compared to the amount of money they spent on it. It's like over $100 million, that's insane. Personally though, I'm a sucker for niche, wacky, over-the-top art styles and zany game concepts, but the broader audience clearly isn't, so why would you go ahead with this and then also make it a live service game, which is a title that can only thrive if a big audience sticks around. Like, hello, it sounds like a recipe for disaster. Apathy. That is the big problem with Highguard, a lack of interest. It isn't because the review of the game was horrendous, which it was. It isn't because woke took over. Oh no, I can't goon to the female characters 24/7. Whatever shall I do? It got so much backlash because people don't really care for it. And then Jeff goes, you want to play this, you need to play this is awesome and super fun and you will like it. Guess what, Jeff? I do like the game. I don't think it's bad, but the thing they created is niche, from the art direction to the game mode. It does work and it's a lot of fun when everything clicks into place. I personally had a blast. I get where you're coming from. This is by far not a bad title. But I'm pretty sure if I played Concord, I also wouldn't call it bad. People didn't care for Concord because 1, PlayStation started being a dumbass, and 2, because it looked uninteresting. It was Overwatch with ugly characters, don't try to say it's otherwise. And I wouldn't call Highguard ugly, but again, the art direction is just a niche, so it does kind of fall into the same pit. Not to the same degree as Concord though, that game fell down a cliff, but there's simply a lack of interest. The market for it just isn't big enough. So next time, if this is the case, don't make such a big deal about it, saying it's the next coming of Christ, okay? It's the easiest crisis to avoid. With all that being said though, I do like the game. I don't think it's an amazing title, but it also isn't the abomination you see people online make it out to be. It's simply a fun, enjoyable little game. Will I play more of it though? Probably not. I've pumped about 30 hours into it and obtained every achievement, which, by the way, only 0.1% of people have done that so far, and I like my time with it, but I've also had my fill. Wildlight Entertainment definitely has a uphill battle to fight though. I'm not really sure if this game is going to last. Making a live service title with a niche art direction and game mode is risky, and on top of that, it's being developed on the west coast of the USA, and yeah, this game wasn't cheap to make. But you know what? I am rooting for them. From what it seems like, they have already listened to a ton of player feedback and are actively patching up the game at a rapid pace. Plus, they seem to actually care about their players. They are even purposefully avoiding FOMO. Would be nice to see more studios do that. Is this game phenomenal? No, not in the slightest, but I would say it's as good as, I don't know, Friends vs. Friends, Black Ops 3 multiplayer, Fistful of Frags. You know what? I'll even call it as fun as Overwatch. It's just a lot less visually appealing. 3 out of 5 with a 2.5 in difficulty. Most of the achievements aren't even that difficult though, it's just time consuming. Quick final thanks to FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video. Make sure to check out the link down below. And if you're on a limited budget, maybe look into getting their C5 chair or the C7 Morpher if you want to get extra fancy. Again, code Foekoe for $50 reduce off. Now I can uninstall Concord 2.0 and live a nice peaceful life where I got nothing to worry about while playing real video games made by real artists. So subscribe and like the videos. Not sure what else you should do. Maybe go pet your cat. Do that, okay? Okay, bye-bye.